Hello, everyone. I hope you're all doing well. Brandon Yanni coming to you from Detroit this time. We're all moved back into our respective seminaries and beginning our semesters. Most of us are down here at Sacred Heart Major Seminary in Detroit, but there's a few of us over in Minnesota at Immaculate Heart of Mary Seminary in Winona, and also one of us up in St. Paul at the seminary there. Obviously, for any of you that are at all involved with school this semester, either as a student yourself or as a parent with students, it's an odd one. I think we're all just kind of now starting to settle into the life here this fall as we take all the different precautions that are necessary, both in living together in the residence here in the house, and also obviously with all the classes we take and all the other things that are part of seminary life. So we're doing the best that we can and taking the precautions, and I hope all of those things are going well for you also. As we enter the 24th Sunday in Ordinary Time this week, the readings clearly are focusing on forgiveness, both the Lord's mercy, but I think more so the fact that the Lord asks us to forgive and to forgive others in the same way that He forgives us. The first reading from Sirach here, I just want to read a few of the lines to establish that. Forgive your neighbor's injustice. Then when you pray, your own sins will be forgiven. Could anyone nourish anger against another and expect healing from the Lord? Could anyone refuse mercy to another like himself? Can he seek pardon for his own sins? If one who is but flesh cherishes wrath, who will forgive his sins? And I think this points to a couple things. Starting kind of at the end there, if one who is but flesh cherishes wrath, who will forgive his sins? So we have to remember that we who are flesh, and we have to endure the weaknesses of the flesh, that doesn't mean that we can cherish wrath, because if we aren't forgiving, it's pretty clear here that is us putting up a wall to the Lord's forgiveness, the Lord who absolutely wants to forgive us and offers His mercy to us freely, that our own unforgiveness is a block to that mercy, that we are kind of putting up I don't want to say a shield, because a shield blocks you from bad things, a wall, a barrier between us and the Lord. Christ, in teaching us the Our Father, this prayer where he teaches us how to pray to the Heavenly Father, there's that line in the Our Father that we forgive those, ask the Lord to forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. And that's exactly what Sirach is getting to here, that when we ask the Lord for mercy, it is always important that we are reviewing our own lives and making sure that we aren't holding on to some sort of unforgiveness towards another in our own hearts. Now, the psalm kind of leads us nicely into the gospel, with the response here being, the Lord is kind and merciful, slow to anger and rich in compassion. And just speaking to that truth that the Lord is, as the psalmist says, kind and merciful, that the Lord does want to forgive us, that He offers us His mercy, He's slow to anger, rich in compassion. And this idea is really embodied in the gospel, in this parable that Christ gives us of the servant who comes before the king with this huge debt. The translation here says that who owed him a huge amount that he had no way of paying back. So this is a debt which never could be repaid. It's almost in some ways unforgivable in the sense that to owe such a huge amount of money, it's an unfathomably large amount of money. And yet Christ at the beginning, in introducing this parable, says, I say to you, not 7 times, but 77 times we must forgive, in response to Peter's question about how often we must forgive. And we see here in this parable that although the king was going to basically sell this person to pay and throw him in prison to pay for these debts, that at the pleading of the servant, the be patient with me and I will pay you back in full, and remembering that this is a debt which could never be paid back in full, the master has moved the compassion of the servant, and then it says he let him go and forgave him the loan. This amount, this loan which could never be repaid, and which would have just been a huge loss to the king. And yet the servant doesn't go and kind of pay that forgiveness forward, but rather finds this individual who owes him money, a much smaller amount, it says, and starts to harass him physically and speak and verbally and demanding that he pay back this tiny sum, clearly not expressing the same forgiveness which had just been shown him. And finally, this gets back to the king, who of course says, "You wicked servant, I forgave you your entire debt because you begged me to. Should you not have had pity on your fellow servant as I had pity on you?" And this terrible warning to the servant and to us that we must forgive. Of course, we should always be quick. We should never hesitate to turn to the Lord for his mercy. He is always happy to forgive us and wanting to forgive us, and we should always be wanting that mercy. But at the same time, we always have to watch in our hearts that we are actually forgiving others as well, because as I said, it's clear here in the readings that to not forgive cuts us off from that mercy of God. It creates a barrier so that forgiveness cannot be given, not on God's end but on ours. So hopefully we can reflect on that a little bit moving forward, praying that the Lord reveal to us any unforgiveness in our own hearts, so that we can move to a place of greater forgiveness of anybody who has harmed us in any way, so that we can more fully receive the Lord's forgiveness and live more fully in his will and in his commandments. So I hope you all have a good week, where I look forward to doing a few more of these over the course of the year, as I know my brother seminarians do. And like I said, it's good to be down here studying, and take care.